I'm not sure if I need a microphone or not. First of all, it's an honor for me to be here. I'm not a morning person by any stretch of the imagination. But when he asked me to come and speak, I said it'd be a pleasure for me to talk about not just Lawrence Funderburke Youth Organization, but what we can do as a community to make a difference. And how me and Alan met, you probably, I don't know if he shared that story or not, but my wife and I, we were going around getting some auction items for our upcoming fundraiser gala a couple years ago. And we stopped by Woodhouse Day Spa, and I know when we came there, he looked at me like, okay, you know, someone else asking for a donation. But then when he got a chance to just hear me talk about, not just me, but about life, and talk about politics and a lot of things, I think he found that there was more substance behind Lawrence Funderburke than someone who just played basketball. As far as I know, most of you are in the business community. My background, I am a certified financial planner. I've been a certified financial planner for about 4 years. I worked for a gentleman by the name of John Sestina and Company. I'm not sure how many of you know him, but he's considered the godfather of fee-only financial planning. And about 2 years ago, I just felt this feeling inside of me that I had to move on, and I had to do what God was calling me to do, and that's to make a difference with youth, particularly kids who grew up like me. And I said that I didn't want to make wealthy people wealthier. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make the middle class and the poor wealthy, and that's basically everything you see here about the Lawrence Funderburke Youth Organization. That's really what we're about. My story, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with my story. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, public housing. For 18 years, I grew up on the west side of Columbus next to Cooper Stadium. I'm sure many of you probably been to the Cooper Stadium. There's a graveyard right there, and then right next to that off of 70 was the Sullivan Gardens housing projects. So it's interesting. I think I spoke to a gentleman, Mr. Buchanan, here, and I told him that I actually lived on Buchanan Drive. And it's funny that all of the streets were named after former U.S. presidents, when none of the people in my neighborhood actually had any ambition to do anything other than just to exist in life. And 18 years growing up on welfare, I hated growing up on welfare. I hated being poor. I hated the fact that people treated me like I was the scum of the earth. People treated me like I was invisible, like I just didn't mean anything to them. I was abandoned by my father. I never saw my father more than 3 times my whole life. Not one time did this man tell me that he loved me. I know there's a lot of fathers in here. I know I have a daughter who's 11, and someone gave me the advice about turning 12, and I can attest to that. I'm sure of that. But my father, whenever he would come over to see me, he was drunk. He was an alcoholic. And he never one time told me that he loved me. Not one time my father told me that he loved me. Not one time. And whenever he would come over, he would take me to the corner store and he'd buy me some candy. And I always keep candy in my pocket, because this is what I only got from my father. Some candy. That's all I got. Some candy. That's what I meant to him. Some candy. He never watched me play sports. He never came to parent-teacher conferences. He never did any of that stuff. And he could never give me the satisfaction of being sober whenever he would see me. And I would run outside to the window and I would look, and my mom would say, your father's coming to see you. And I never will call him my dad, because dad is a title you earn through a relationship. I would never call him that. He was my father, a biological term, husband. I mean, a father and a mother, they come together and have a child. And he died at the age of 40. I didn't go to his funeral. I didn't know him. He was a mystery man to me. And like so many kids who grow up in that environment, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of hostility. A lot of you probably have watched me through the years. You probably made assumptions about me. You probably judged me without understanding my story, which is pretty common. And I knew that if I was going to make it in life, I knew that I had to have a special formula for success. And I watched a great movie the other day with my wife. It's called Life of a King, starring Cuba Gooding Jr. It's a great movie. I don't know how many of you actually like chess, but it's a movie about chess and about making the right move. And you have to think before you make a move, or else it can end in disaster. And that's definitely the case with a lot of kids who grow up in that environment. Sullivan Gardens housing project.